Hi friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video will be a little different from what I usually do. We'll be diving into what I think are the logistics to get into painting miniatures. But I'm not talking about single character miniatures like these, no. I'm talking about units, whole units of models which sometimes might feel repetitive and never-ending, especially for numerous armies like orcs or tyranids. As you can see here, I've got some slightly kit-bashed orc boys. I've got them ready for 11th edition and to also test out some schemes for the Armageddon box, which will be out soon. So, once you've got your unit kit-bashed and assembled and, personalized however you want, we can get into getting the bases ready. Oh, as a side note, I'm changing the size for the knobs base to match the new ones in the 11th edition. So, as I was saying, when working on a unit, starting from the bases usually helps make sure all models have a sort of similar style of terrain. I always go with soil and rocks first. This helps to better understand the space you have to work with, creating a sort of creative border to plan out where everything else will go, without taking away any space from the miniatures. After that, we can start adding any other details or decoration, always making sure that each model can fit on its base. Bear in mind that these models can be taken off their bases, making it easier to work all over them. If your models do not have this feature, I suggest gluing them after the bases are done. Once you're happy with how the bases look, you can go on and prime everything. Now, I won't be going through the entire painting process, but I will be showing you how quickly you can work on a unit if you concentrate on making them tabletop ready instead of perfectly detailed like we usually do on characters. What I'm doing here is base coating all these orc boys simultaneously, so as not to leave any behind. I think this is quite a debated way of painting, but I think it works perfectly for units, giving you the chance to open color pots once or twice for all instead of once per model. Using contrasts also saves a ton of time, creating the depth you need even without going too much into detail. One coat of whatever color you want and the model is perfectly done, as long as you've chosen the right primer. On these orcs, I work on all smaller details while I go, no worrying too much about making them perfect. As long as you can distinguish the teeth from the mouth or any wire or tube from armor, you're set. I do admit I did a little bit of pink details on their skin, and these details aren't important, and I suggest adding any extra stuff only if you feel that you're quick with it. Now, a thing I always do to make sure I'm not missing out anything on the models of a unit is starting from the lower parts and slowly working my way up. As I said before, using contrast can help you accelerate a lot of this process. Yeah, you might have to use a couple of color pots a few more times, but at least you won't have blank spots laying around. Another thing I try doing, especially on units like the orcs, is adding a little variation here and there. It might not be as easy to do on other factions, but I can assure you that any little variation you do can make a difference in making every model feel unique. Painting units does feel tedious at some point. What I suggest is to keep out at least one model you really like and use it as a sort of break from all the repetitive work you're doing. This is often, but not always, the character model. For example, I worked a little more carefully on the knob, adding a bit more detail and following a different painting pattern to cool down from one orc to the other. As you can see, I've put a little more effort into this, but not all at once. The best thing you can do is basically give yourself an objective. Once you've painted like 3 models in your unit, you can work a little bit on the character, and then you get back to other 3 models, and then you go back to the character. This helps making the process a little bit more pleasing. Now, once all models are done, and if you still have some time, you can go on and add any smaller decorations such as rust or gore effects, or even simply any decal or freehand you feel like would fit your unit. This is the point where I work on finalizing the bases, adding any last effects and tufts once all is done. And so you have it. A few simple tips to make sure you can get those models ready for the friendly match that awaits you in a few hours. Thank you all for watching until the end. Stay tuned for the next episode. I'm working on something really big and I can't wait to share it with you all. Have a nice one. Bye, friends.